Hello, this is Ross, and I've just got back from the club where I played a 300-point game of Impetus. This is a practice game ready for the Wales Open tournament on Saturday in Cardiff. I'm looking forward to that. We're aiming to get 4 games in a day, and I'm going to take photographs and try and do reports on all 4, so that's going to be a good test of the memory. Right, so as you can see, this evening we had those age-old foes, the medieval English Lancastrians, fighting against the Sui Chinese. Well, I'm always at it, those two. So, one of those classic things you get in ancient war games. I mean, for the tournament on Saturday, it's an open tournament. You can bring any list that's in the books, the official 5 extra Impetus books, or the approved beta lists on the forum. There's loads of free lists. Impetus is a great game. This is the game we play the most, and it's the game I really love. It really got me back into Ancients, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Played lots of tournaments. Roger, playing this evening, has also played lots of tournaments. We both won tournaments and placed highly, and I just love the game. I'm really looking forward to the new season. So I'm going to cover some of the rules as we go through. I'll try and post, if people like, I can post some general introductions on the overall of the rules. Although there are other videos out there, and the rules are free online. The basic rules are. I'd highly recommend it. So I hope you enjoy the battle report. Right, my opponent is Roger, who's brought along his Chinese army, which I thoroughly enjoy painting. It looks very nice on the table. And Roger's tactics on this, explained to me later. He's put a camp up in the top right hand corner. You can just about see it there. And in front of that, he won the roll off for who gets to place the terrain or be defender or attacker. So Roger chose to defend, so he placed the terrain. He placed one piece, which is this large impassable mountain that you see. So you can't shoot through it, you can't move through it. Yep, he's put that in the corner. And by only placing one piece, that means I can't move it. I can add a piece of my own terrain if I wish to on the battlefield. But my army is Lancastrian. It's got lots of longbows. It's a very shooty army, and it's backed up with some heavy cavalry and heavy infantry. So terrain isn't really going to help me. Thinking back, I could probably put a bit of cover at my end of the table for the shooting battle, but I like to keep that ability to move my army around, because I want to be able to finesse it a bit and maybe get the heavy stuff in. So I didn't place anything. Oh, sorry, I did place one piece of terrain. I thought I'd put some. I had the smart idea of placing that difficult terrain, those 3 bits of swamp there, which is actually one large swamp, just to try and make it difficult for him. But as it turned out, as his plan revolved around blocking off that flank, it actually helped him, if anything. So I formed a very nice protection for his camp. So anyway, that side of the table is the far right, and that really is pretty much blocked off. I see another picture of it there. He's put fortifications up with archers behind them and a unit in support, linked up with some skirmishers, and as I move to the left you start to see the rest of his army. And there's the main force. On the right he's got a large unit. Sorry, on the right he's got a unit of archers backed up by some halberdiers. In the centre is a large unit which is a mixture of quite tough halberdiers at the front with the archers at the back. The way it works in Impetus is the archers can then shoot as if they're at the front. Any casualties they take come off the back rank, so you do reduce the amount of shooting coming back, which is how the game works. On the left he's got more skirmishers, and behind them some more spearmen. Now, as he has a level 3 general, or a 30-point excellent general to use the right jargon, he can withhold 3 units, which I don't know where they're going to come on yet. On the left hand side, these are the ones that come on later, of course, he's brought on a war wagon, which are really tough. They don't really move very far or anything, but as I got surprised a bit later to find out, they've got bowmen on board, and lurking behind are some light cavalry. Light cavalry can oblique, so they're going to be coming round to cover that far left flank as we're looking. Oh, there's a very blurry picture, which is a shame. The blue markers show he's an opportunity, and there's a picture of the centre of his arm. So I've deployed here. This is a bit embarrassing because I didn't bring my camp with me. My excuse is I had to put 3 armies together very quickly because we had new players coming, and we had 3 games going on with me supplying half the army, so mine ended up a bit ragtag. No camp, And the strange looking yellow bases are actually my javelin throwing medieval skirmishers, which are being shown as ancient Greek slingers, so ignore those a little bit. Right, my army, you can hopefully see from in the middle, there's a wall of 4 blocks of longbows. I've also got some crossbows coming on the right, and there's 2 large blocks of heavy infantry in the centre, and on the far right you see I've got 2 units of bonnets, which are Irish javelin men, and a light infantry. So I brought on my last 2 units, which I'm keeping up my sleeve, and that is on the far left you'll see the heavy cavalry, which are pretty tough, and in front of them some light cavalry to give them some protection. My general's actually with the foot unit just in from the left, and they're dismounted men-at-arms. The other heavy infantry unit just to the right of them are the Shire billmen, which are the sort of 4-1 poorer quality, whereas the king himself is in a really tough band of foot unit. Usually people put them in the mounted unit, but the trouble is I tend to be a little bit aggressive and they charge off and quite often die. So I'm hoping he lasts a bit longer on the foot once. There's now the left flank. As you can see, he's done his first turn. All he's really done is move the light cavalry out to the far flank, and he hasn't moved at all. The idea is he's got all his shooters in the middle on opportunity. So at the moment, when you deploy an impetus, you're just out of range, so we can't shoot each other. So if I advance, his guys immediately shoot. So potentially a standoff. But as I've got such a shooty army, I'm thinking why not? Oh, here's another close-up of my setup, just to give you a better idea. 2 units of spearmen on the right, with the crossbows in front of them with the red tops. And the heavy infantry. The red marker shows they're disordered. This is because they're rushing around trying to get 3 games set up. I left the crossbows off the table. Roger kindly let me bring them on. I stuck them in a bad place in the sort of interest of fair play, and I'm about to oblique them to the left. Any unit can oblique in this, but you do become disordered, which lend you a turn for those guys. So anyway, they're a little bit more useful where they are. My overall plan here is I can't break the right. He's got the guys fortified. He's got the impassable terrain, and on the left he's got the war wagon. So really my best chance is through the middle. And I'm thinking here that I can win the shooting duel. I can just have a go. Why not? I've got all those longbows. Longbows are very good in this. Longbow A. Let's have a shooting duel. If I can win that, he's going to come to me, and then I can do the counter punch. The problem is slightly with this battle. At the beginning, it looked like we both had fairly defensive counter-attacking armies. A lot might happen. There's another view of the right-hand side. You can see the red wall with the archers behind it, a bit of support there, a bit of a gap, and he's trying to funnel me into the centre where he's shooting, and fairly tough infantry is going to sort me out. But because I can win the shooting battle, it's not necessarily going to be so easy for him this time. And there's a better shot at the centre of my position, with this ridiculous swamp as my camp. So I'm a sort of the swamp warriors. And you can see there the line of archers, and my skirmishers have gone out to make it very difficult for him to shoot me. So in the first turn, I have gone forward. I've fired the long-range shots. The way it works, because I'm 4, it's long range, so I lose 1 dice, puts me on 3 dice, and I moved, so I only get 2 dice. So if I had 2 dice, 2 dice, 2 dice, all missed, you need 6s or a double 5. And then, because you get to penetrate freely, I jumped my skirmishers up to the front. So when he... the idea is if he wants to shoot me, it's a bit more difficult. But, of course, because he's an opportunity, as soon as I moved the archers forward, he got around his shooting in first. And didn't manage any hits on me either. There's 1 green block in the middle. They're an opportunity, which isn't really going to help me. There's a shot from behind my lines. You can see my skirmishers are out there protecting my main line. I've got 1 lot on the left. 1 lot of archers is turned off slightly to deal with the war wagon if it comes forward, and those light cavalry. Because my light cavalry on the far left are these hoblars or kuras, which do seem to be the most pointless units in the whole of Impetus. They've only got 3-1, so they're not particularly good at attacking or charging, and no missile weapons. Most light cavalry have a bow or javelins or something, and you can do something with them. So what I'm doing, I'm going to angle them in from the left, and hopefully get a chance to sweep through and take out his skirmishers. That's one thing they can do. Because if you hit skirmishers, there's no combat, you just kill them. And if I get in from the flank, they can't evade. They're also going to try and screen his light cavalry on the far left, which of course have bows, and are quite useful. So, yeah, well, hopefully I have to just deal with as time comes along. Oh, slightly different angle. You can see the other two games are in the background. So it's good to have 3 games of Impetus at the same time. Right, so my archers have wheeled forward in the centre, and we're shooting, taking long-range shots to the centre of the Chinese position. The difficulty is then, of course, trying to get the skirmishers back in front again when he shoots. So if you exchange fire, and I'm getting a couple of hits and starting to whittle down. He's got a large unit in the centre, and I'm starting to hit it. I've got all the archers focusing their fire on one unit. The hits are coming off the back, so you can't really see from here, but his rear unit was a strength 4. That was the archers. They're now down to 2, so they can't really shoot back much. And it's dawning on both of us that if we just continue this long-range pot-shotting, I'm going to win eventually. Now, the strange thing with Impetus is a lot of the games, it's very exciting because you can almost hit each other turn 1. Well, you can if you get the right dice rolls. And it's a very aggressive, very dynamic game. And you'll see this game, this is exactly what happens in this game once things get moving. An unusual setup here because we're both sort of standoffish armies. And the funny part about this is Roger loves to defend and he's being forced forward. I love to attack and I'm ending up defending. So Roger's starting to push up, hasn't got much choice. The large unit in the middle, which has been taking the hits, has come forward. And then Roger's going to jump his skirmishers in front to try and stop it taking any more damage. So this actually gets a little bit more difficult for me because hitting with skirmishers at long distance, if you shoot at them, it's a -2 penalty on the number of dice you get. If you shoot over them at the units behind, then you get half the dice. So I could just keep shooting 1 dice, 1 dice, 1 dice. I'm trying to be more proactive here. So you can see how he's coming towards me. The one disadvantage with the way he's set up is that the units in the top right, behind that fortification, and that light infantry are really out of the game now. I think they should have come up as well. I know it's a great defensive position, but in a shooting battle like this, you want everything you can shoot, shooting, and they're out of range. And I made sure I stay out of range. And there's a little close-up of those guys. The light infantry have decided to jump out. And they come over the wall. The one thing on the rules we weren't quite sure of here, whether or not you had to clear the whole wall base, or if you could land on the wall. It's also tricky with fortifications. Do you measure the range to the edge of the base, or do you measure it to the edge of the wall? And if you fight a melee, the same sort of things apply. So what we normally play is for shooting, you measure it from the unit. For meleeing, you've got to reach the unit, but you set them up this side of the fortification. For Roger's move, he couldn't quite clear the forts. So as you can see, we slightly overlapped the base and thought, well, you know, the walls, how wide's a wall? A few inches. And this represents a whole battalion of men. So that'll do for us. Doesn't really matter. See on the left-hand side, and what I'm trying to do here is get, as you can see from the ruler on the table, my skirmishers have bravely pushed forward, and they're just in javelin range. So at short range, as this is, which is a maximum range for a javelin, it's -1 off my dice. So I get to roll 1 dice just to try and get a cheeky little hit on there. And missed. There's a little tour around the other tables here. Might as well keep it in so you can see something else that's going on. Just give an idea of the variation. This is, on the left, as you can see, Pike Block Army. It's a successor army. And they're having a battle against Stacians. So it's going to be a proper car crash in the middle there. Just give an idea of what's going on in the club tonight. And on the other table, we've got a medieval clash, and it's actually Lancastrians against Yorkists. Always interesting, amusing when we actually get historical confrontation. So you see 2 armies getting ready for a real crash. That turned out to be a very good game. And I came to pick up the end of it after we finished our game, still going strong. And they almost both destroyed each other, and the Yorkists edged it. You know, you can see some of the games, and there's more games going behind me of other things. So it's good fun. I'll put a link to the club down below, and if you're interested and you're near the area, come and drop in. New players always welcome. Okay, back to our game. Here's the centre of my position, and already you can see the Chinese centre is getting quite close now. I know skirmishers are coming forward, getting in the way and being a nuisance, and I'm thinking I really want to shift those skirmishers. So I'm tempted as before to swing in with the light cavalry from the left, because the problem is if I'm shooting them, it's messing up my dice. And I really want something light to just rush out. So I put my light spearmen in the middle next time, they can rush out, deal with that. But then you've got the problem of them being in the way of the shooting. So I've been a bit reckless here and pushed up the light cavalry on the far left, which does make it a bit easy pickings for his light cavalry, but I'm determined to try and... I'll take a gamble in this game, so you roll off for who goes first each turn. If I win next turn, I can just come in, take out those skirmishers, probably take out both of them. My cavalry won't win a melee, probably bounce off, and then my longbows have got easy targets to blaze away. It's a bit of a gamble there. And of course he went first. And this is when I first discovered as well that the war wagon actually had bows on board. So they took a long-range pot shot at my light cavalry, disordered them. His light cavalry then came rushing in with their bows, point-blank range. So that's lots of dice, 6 dice. He moves, he got 5 dice into the flank of my cavalry, 6s to hit, and he whiffed, or missed. So my light cavalry is sitting there just disordered and got away with it. It doesn't mean they can't do an opportunity charge or anything like that, but at least they're alive. My archers are still sort of protected, not the right word, but there's something in between them and the enemy. Yeah, he's rolling his 4 dice. He's got a hit there as well. Well, those were 4, sorry about that. And he's coming through the centre now. My skirmishers have been a nuisance for him. And forward he comes. And the other skirmisher is going to move forward 8 and take a cheeky shot at my skirmishers, try and get them out of the way so he can get a shot for his. So the skirmishers are really working well for both sides here. And really blocking the shooting. Now I think I've got really heavy infantry. I'm up for a scrap. I don't mind him coming on. Right, so the left flank now is starting to get a bit more interesting. His spearmen have got the slight problem that my light cavalry are going to be coming across there, and my skirmishers are going to try and get a shot in. Right, this is where the madness begins. At the moment, my archers are all lined up, but his skirmishers are in the way. So I can try and shoot the skirmishers, and I get, they're not quite point blank range, so I get my 4 dice, -1 for them being skirmishers. They could evade, and I'd be on 2 dice trying to get a 6, wasting a shot maybe, and then he's got other skirmishers. So my skirmishers are currently in the front, thinking about taking them on, and then I thought, let's try and clear them out the way. So as usual, my defence doesn't last very long, and as you can see from the ruler, my heavy cavalry is going to try a long bomb onto that unit there, which will clear out the skirmishers in the way. My hope then is to hit those, knock them out the way, knock the skirmishers out the way, see how the melee goes, hopefully leave a gap, and then my archers can open up. So let's see how that worked out. So I've gone charging in. I've got 1-6. I've done a hit on him. Right, so my heavy cavalry has gone careering in. It's a double move to get there. Now the way it works in Impetus, if you don't know it, you make one action immediately, whether that be shoot or move being the main ones, or wheel is also an action. You can then take a second move or action, which again succeeds, but you do then have to make a leadership test. If you fail that, you become disordered. It's a 50-50 flip of the coin for me, because they're B class. The general's near enough to help, so I need a 4, 5 or 6. I rolled a 3, so they're disordered, which is really bad news for heavy cavalry, because if you take a hit, the first hit is disorder, second hit is a casualty, or if you take a hit while you're disordered, it's a casualty, and you lose your impetus bonus, which the cavalry is really important. These guys are 6-3, which get 9 dice on the charge, 6 plus 3 being 9. As soon as you take a casualty, the value is 5, they no longer get the +3. So they're on 5 dice, disordered 4 dice, so they stop being potent. So you really shouldn't risk getting disorder, but there we are. Had to get the game moving along, and the bigger picture is I really want to open everything up to get my archers blazing away. So they've chomped in. I've done a hit on him. I whiffed his dice, so I got away with it. I don't have the hit on me just yet. He takes his roll, and he rolled a 3. You need a 1, 2 or 3 just to be disordered. If he rolls a 4, 5 or 6, they take a hit. I win the melee. He recoils. I follow up. I do a follow-on charge. I hit the other unit. Hopefully I can knock another hole somewhere, or I bounce off. And then the game's on for my archers to go in and do some damage. So I thought, well, I've only got 1 reroll a game, and I make him reroll it. And he rolled another 3. So we're stuck. I hadn't really thought this through, because now the archer's completely blocked by this big melee right in the middle. The one consolation, we looked in on this photograph, looking at it again, I'm not so sure. We decided that gap was wide enough to get a shot through, because you'll see 2 corners. So I guess if we come back a bit, you could probably do it. Anyway, we allowed that. He's got the skirmishes on the right, so at least I can try and pick on that large unit in the centre. Oh, sorry, the other thing I just remembered is my good old light cavalry that was sitting there. They also charged into the flank of his unit. The idea being they provide enough extra dice to win the melee this time. The heavy cavalry, being the frontal one, stays the main unit. So that's going to come following through, and we continue the plan as we were. So I got 5 dice for the main cavalry, a couple more dice for the other unit come to join them, 7 dice, rolled a lot. You can see what's coming here. I did no hits at all, so that's stuck. Oh, I should just say as well, because I had light cavalry, they don't stick in melees with infantry, they bounced off, and I'm stuck exactly as I was with the heavy cavalry in the middle, except now my light cavalry is disordered and sitting right in front of his light cavalry. So that didn't really work very well. Right, my javelin guys, and I had loads of javelins in the car if I'd remembered, part of a different army, which you'll see on Saturday perhaps. Anyway, they come in, they've tried to start throwing their javelins, do some damage over here on the right hand flank, and we're just trying to get as many hits as possible. I'm trying to focus everything in the middle to try and open up the centre. So on the left hand side, what I'm going to do here is one of these cheeky things you do in Impetus. The unit, you can see that's the wheel gauge. So being light infantry, they move 6, which means they can wheel 6, which displaces the skirmishers to come back behind, well, as far as they have to go, till they find clear space. And look at it, it was really close. I think it must be the camera angle, because when you put the wheel down flat, because of the angles, they were just able to get shot off through the middle of that main unit. If they were totally front on, the gap wouldn't be wide enough, but with the little angle, well, hope you know the picture. Yeah. So they just make it. So the left hand corner, see the left hand corner, right hand corner, see the right hand corner. And, yeah, it would have been pretty close. You look more in on the table. But anyway, Roger's good enough to let me have the shot. So they've shot. Hit again, and again he rolls low on his cohesion test. So now hit these guys 3 or 4 times. He's got successful rallies, always rolling low on cohesion, just whittling down that back rank. I think it's about 1 left now, but I just can't destroy it. And again, not done enough this time either. Yep, so that's that position on the left. My cavalry now took an extra hit, of course, because it's already disordered. So it's now weakened and lost its charge bonus. The light cavalry is disordered and stuck right in front of his light cavalry with their bows. So that's not looking good. But, well, it has opened up the position a bit. The game is moving along. So my unit in the centre has gone barreling through, just to try and, well, first of all, get rid of the skirmishers, which you can see have evaded to the rear. And then try and get a battle which goes one way or the other. And I open things up for my archers. And I went charging in, took a couple of hits, and then really rolled badly on the cohesion test, and my guys came flying back. So an unsuccessful. But as you can see from this picture, me pointing at them, they lost the combat, recoiled. I think I rolled a 6. They came all the way back to collide with the archers that were behind them. And because they're light infantry and they're archers, which count as light infantry for interpenetration, they effectively jump over those. There's another unit, heavy infantry there, so they have to jump over those, and they end up right at the back. So if you know your Arabic and you can read it upside down, that's a 2. So they took 2 hits. They only started off with 4, so they got 2 left, and they're disordered, but at least they're out of the way. So through a series of, I don't want let's say it didn't exactly go exactly as planned, but the position has been opened up, and now my archers and crossbows there have got a clear field of fire to shoot. And this is one of the great things with Impetus. It makes it blinking difficult to narrate it, I can tell you, for a YouTube video, because you don't have set phases. Most games, everything moves. Take a picture, talk about the moves, like Warhammer or something. Everything shoots, talk about the shooting, magic, whatever, on to the next turn. In this game, you activate a unit and do everything with it, and then you activate another unit and do everything with it. So already this turn we have fought, I don't know, there's a couple of rounds of combat. The cavalry went in, they got stuck, the cavalry got started again because the light cavalry joined the battle. So that was 2 rounds of melee. This melee's gone in, they bounced off, there's been shooting in the middle, and now the position's opened up. So the archers in the middle, because of the rules, they have to shoot straight ahead, or the nearest target. So I think that allows them to shoot the unit with the flag, which I should have realised immediately is the unit with his general in it. So his general's unit is now looking very vulnerable. It has taken a couple of hits at least, and it's right there for my shooters. So I have got the position opened up. The crossbows are on the right. His archers are still behind that fortification, so I'm just in range. But because the skirmishers are there, long range with a short bow, you're not going to do anything. So I'm getting 3 shots here. So suddenly it's starting to look... It's opened up so quickly, all within the space of this turn. Things are such... Right, so these guys, archers again, are now able to shoot, because everything's been cleared out from in front of them. So they're doing more hits. And we're going back to this again. And you can see that 5 has appeared next to my cavalry. I've tried to reactivate the battle. It hasn't won. We're still stuck there. But I'm not engaging the units directly in front of them. Roger thought about engaging them, but he's now starting to worry. I don't know why he didn't do that. I think he's... Oh, I remember. I think he had to rally his general's unit. Failed. So he sort of shouted them, as we say, which means he used the general's leadership. In his case, it's 3. So he had 3 dice. And he rallied the unit. You don't want to be disordered in this game. For one, you can't move twice. And for 2, any hits you take are going to be casualties. And with me now really starting to pile in the shooting. Oh yes, and the third reason you don't want to be disordered is if you're disordered, you don't have a zone of control. Now if you've got a zone of control, anything happening, and it's basically point blank range to the front, anything that happens there, you get to shoot back or counter-attack or whatever it is. You get to react. So it's a slight problem here. If the skirmishers you see, those 2 dodgy looking slingers, which are actually javelin men, and medieval of course, if they throw their javelins at that unit there, he will react and charge me. Because I'm the active player, the skirmishers can't evade, they will get destroyed. You will then quite possibly follow through and melee with the unit behind. So I'm just giving up a skirmisher unit. Oh, I suddenly thought, I wonder if I could push the skirmishers up, then throw the javelins. He hits them, then I get a clear shot. Skirmishers die. Maybe. The main thing I want to try and do is get a disorder on those before I do anything. So I'm trying always to get shots, whether they're long range or angle shots, or try and get my cavalry to hit them, anything. Get them disordered, then everything, and pour on the pain. So my heavy cavalry fought another round of the combat, and as you can see on the far left, they've bounced off. They lost the melee. Marvellous. Elite heavy cavalry, the nobles, on their big horses, big heavy armour, and they just got beaten. It can happen. It can happen. There you go. You use your heavy cavalry wisely, and they're not indestructible. So my cavalry are now very vulnerable. I kept calling it the tank because his war wagon was shooting arrows very successfully, especially against cavalry. But as you can see, the centre's really opened up. So it's been expensive and a bit painful. But now I've got open targets in the middle. If I can just get them disordered, everything can pile in and start shooting, and then I've got my blocks of heavy infantry, which hopefully can go in and do enough to win the game. So here we go. Sorry, over to Roger's turn now. So he's managed to jump in with his skirmishers there and actually put a hit on my archers. This is a crazy thing with this game sometimes. So he's got 2 dice, or a couple of dice, whatever. Anyway, he rolled a hit or 2. I think he must have rolled 2 hits or something. I rolled a 6 on my cohesion test. And suddenly my archers... Oh, that's right. Yeah, he got 3 hits. Ouch. I rolled a 6 on the cohesion test. And suddenly my archers are being whittled right down. Back to plan B. And I don't know if the next picture is going to help or not. And I mention it now just in case it doesn't. What it's also done is... Just to bear this in mind, this is going to happen. I'm not sure if the picture is going to cover it, so I'll mention it now. On the left-hand side, things have opened up a bit. I managed to get a shot in on that large block of heavy infantry in the middle where his general is. So I got disorder on them. So all my shooters can run in and shoot at point-blank range without him rushing out to charge me. What I didn't think of, and this is why you have practice games, get you back into tournament thinking. Because I moved forward before I did the shooting, I just entered the bloody zone of control for those skirmishers to the side of them. So even though his main unit couldn't charge me, he could get a shot, and they can actually shoot at the archers again. They don't have to shoot at the unit that's activated them. So once I did that once, I realised I made a mistake and had to get the shots in from the left. So let's see. Okay, we just jumped over to the right, where his unit, which is coming in, his unit Spearman, has been shot up. The skirmishers came in from the right-hand side. That's right, I managed to get my skirmishers on, excuse me, for the picture missing. That's how I pointed to remind myself. His spearmen came running in. The way I placed my skirmishers meant he went into their zone of control. They got to throw their javelins. They did some damage. He meleeed with the archers. And anyone who tells you archers are missile troops has never played archers, because they are great in melees. I don't know what it is. It seems every time. The arrows do nothing. He comes in to chop them up with spearmen. You get 4 dice, roll 2 or 3 6s. He gets a bad roll on the cohesion test, and they're toast. So well done, the archers. That suddenly opens up that right-hand side now, which gives me even more shots on his general's unit, which is looking very exposed. Yep, so on the left-hand side. Oh dear. In a vain attempt to try and get a disorder in the middle, the heavy cavalry, I wasn't saying Blackadder, what's needed now is a really futile gesture. So they did a really futile gesture, like Lord of the Rings charging across the fields of Pelennor, with the orcs waiting in the buildings, and they got hammered. So the knights come off, so I lose the 3 points for the knights, which is a shame. But if you look under my hand, that unit of archers, with its flank hanging out there exposed to the enemy, is now perfectly lined up to start hammering away at the general's unit and get that disorder I need. And got the disorder. So, out of the bad things, oh, the knights have just reappeared. Oh well, if they're there, they're only there for seconds, because I think they're like cavalry. His light cavalry's going to finish them off. So I'm just jumping the gun slightly, but hey, take it from me, they've had it. But I do have an open shot now. So the shot goes in. Don't forget, all this is the same. No. And we looked at this. I thought, well, the rule is you have to shoot at the most. Just to cover a quick rule point here. You have to cover the most. Oh, not the most. The most direct in front, or the nearest. So we put a mark on the centre of the base, which gives you an idea. It's a bit twisted here, but even allow for it being perfectly out front, whichever one falls to the side of that marker. So basically I've got to shoot the guy on the left. I want to shoot the general's unit on the right. So the way to do it, wheel the unit and then shoot. So I lose a dice because I've moved, so you lose one shooting dice. And if you can see his light cavalry at the top, they can't believe it, because these archers are just sitting there to be killed. So now it's a race. I'm going to try and destroy the middle and killing enough units to break his army before my flank starts collapsing. So it's getting quite exciting here. So I do the move. Roll 2 dice, and boom, yes, got that hit. One of those moments you really want. So what I can do now, you see there's 3 units I have on the right hand side of the screen, the skirmishers, behind them is some archers, and wheeling some more archers. He's disordered, so he can't react. This is where I mentioned earlier, I was trying to work out the best order for doing this, because the way it works is if you've got light troops and skirmishers, they can interpenetrate, and as soon as you sort of land on another unit, that unit gets moved back. So you have to decide, the way I think about this is you have to decide which unit you want to be at the front at the end of your turn. They can all shoot, you can all jiggle them around. Which ones you want at the front? Usually it's the skirmishers, because obviously they block enemy fire, but there's no enemy fire about now. It's just melee units. The skirmishers might fail their evade roll, so I guess keep the skirmishers there and do the skirmishers first, and then the archers will interpenetrate and get them back out. Of course, this is where I didn't realise the skirmishers would activate his skirmishers. I shot him, but he also got to shoot me, which is a shame. But anyway, I won't make the same mistake twice. And, yeah, so you can see well, you can't really see, but my next unit of archers is managed to manoeuvre in to shoot. So it's not his general's unit, is it? The general's unit's just the right. So on the video editing, the pictures are very small, so it's going to be easier for you to see than it is for me when I'm actually doing this. Anyway, we're getting more shots into the centre, and now this time I will avoid his skirmishers and make sure I'm to the side of them, or I just move to within 5 of the main unit, which if you notice is slightly ahead of the skirmishers, so I can get to point blank range and all the bonus dice you get without getting return fire from the skirmishers. It's time to put a lot of shots on those. Look at this. So my brave archers, who've just seen off a unit of spearmen which just charged them for not much damage. He did a long shot from his cowardly archers lurking at the fortification, because I've now just got into slight range. 1 dice does 1 hit. So I'm on VBU of 4. Take a hit, 3. It's shooting back up to 4. I was disordered, I think 3. Boom. Roll a 6. Down to 1 man. It's like, great. And he's got his skirmishers there as well. They get activated in the shoot-in. They can hit them as well. So my archers down to 1 point now. So here we are in the centre. Starting to build up the hits. The yellow markers are disordered. And this is where I decide to... My archers there are in big trouble. They're on 1 point. No point in giving him the points. And I really want to get stuck into his general unit now. So I got my unit of heavy infantry. There's a few gaps appearing. I haven't given all the kills in the middle, but his archer units have gone. His large units are now small units. He's starting to get towards the point where I could break him. So I'm thinking, yeah, long bomb, heavy infantry. Let's get in there. And if nothing else, I want to get my units out. One of the things to remember in Impetus is you want to be getting your units out, because a dead unit goes towards your break point. A unit like those archers, 1 point left and disordered, pretty much useless for anything except dying, are going to be dispersed to the back, or displaced to the back, where they're not helping him win the game. Okay, so I'm going to need... You can see the measurements there. The pinks are 5, so I move 5. The second move is going to be 10. So I'm going to need 10 plus a bit. So basically, I do a move plus a charge. But I think the way I did this, it's only going to get me to the skirmishers. So I think I might have gone for the double move. I don't know, they're C-class. No, I went for the move on the charge anyway. Let's say, you know, the double moves move. So, yeah, so they didn't get the... That's right, I decided just to do the 1 move. It was just too far for C-class. If they're a higher class, you might gamble it. The good news now, the crossbows on the right have been lurking there, starting to get shots in on his general's unit. So that was really starting to suffer, and my heavy infantry's getting nearer, so I can go. And his guys in the middle are really starting to look isolated now. There we are. Boom, he's got a 6 on his cohesion test, you can see up there. And you can see also the top right, the archers are starting to come forward now, starting to come in, but I think he's left them a bit too late. There's also the heavy cavalry, the cataphracts, are ready for an opportunity charge in the centre to countercharge me. So I'm going to make sure if I hit him once and it ends the game. Back over to the left-hand side. My light cavalry have, amazingly, they got shot at last turn, so they evaded all the way back to the back, well out of trouble, and I should probably have left them there. I had the bright idea, if I put my light cav there, the zone of control would stop his light cav getting to my archers, which I really want to break those centre units. And that worked, except Roger, by a bleaking in, he managed to just get himself to point blank range shot into the side of my light cav, and from that range did a lot of damage and killed those. But it does mean my archers survived to put more paper. Here we go at last. Nice shot of the overall view of the battlefield. So working from left to right, you can see where my light cavalry are, about to be shot to bits by his archers on the horses. They must have missed that turn. Yes, that's right. Yes, he had 6 dice and whiffed the lot. No 6s or double 5s, and 6 dice. Coming in from that, so you can see my archers just joining in with sort of, I think they're into short range now, so they're getting 4 dice a turn, hitting his centre unit. I've then got more archers in the centre, shooting a centre unit, with skirmishers also joining in the fun. So there's basically three sets of archers and skirmishers there. The other set of archers are pretty much out of the game now, they've retreated to the back. On the right hand side I've got another set of skirmishers and the crossbow. So really, effectively it's 6 lots of shooting, which really can whittle down units. I mean, his general units died really slow. You get +1 each turn on the cohesion test because of the general, and it's a large unit. And he kept rolling low, and it was just pounding and pounding away at them, which is how it should be. I mean, if that's the elite unit, they got armour on, they've just been shot at by archers and stuff, they'll shrug it off. But gradually, their will to continue is being worn down. So it's looking now, if I can just take out, I think even 2 of those centre units, that'll probably be enough to break in. 3 definitely will be. And I'm just going to get stuck in, charge, and go for the win before my flanks cave in and his archers on the right come in, and we can actually save the game. Right, so back over to the left-hand side of the battlefield. Those blinking skirmishers I keep chasing back and forth still there. They've come in to take a pot shot at the archers and start wearing them down. Hang in there, guys. His war wagon, which I think should have moved up, really. It's been having a few long-range shots. The trouble is, war wagons are difficult to move. They only move 5 and they're automatically disordered each time. So you have to kind of trundle them up. You don't really, which negates your shooting, but they're so poor at long range, I think I'd have trundled it up. Along with the archers on the top right. And paying for the numbers at the... So on the far left, those light archers with their bows. To their mercy, really. So those light cavalry have had it. I think they've probably gone by now. And yeah, the reason we're showing this zone of control is these archers are just protecting the archers next to them. It's a bit of luck, really. I hadn't really planned it this way. If you look at the spearmen directly to in the sort of centre of the screen, with a little yellow marker next to them, they would like to charge my archers, but to do so they're going to enter the zone of control and not exit it, and it's not on a path that would collide with the archers on the left, so they will get a free shot. Point blank range, I haven't got the tables in front of me, but it's going to be about 6 or 7 dice, and those guys are already down to about 2 or 3 hits remaining, so they might not even get there before they get killed by the arrows. So you've got a dilemma: do I charge and get shot to pieces, or do I stand still, try and rally, and probably get shot to pieces? Same with the guys in the middle. It's not a great position for these. It will help. There was a nice shot, the overview situation there now. So the zone of control, the guys on the far left, just extends in front of those archers. So what he's trying to do was get a hit in with those skirmishers. That cheeky hit he went for. But fluff the dice. Didn't get the hit, didn't get the disorder, the zone of control stays in place. And as I was saying, it really is Hobson's choice now, because if you stay there, you get shot. If you advance, they're not really strong enough to win a melee anymore. Just as well go for it, or maybe, I don't know, I maybe tried the long bomb with the heavy cavalry, what the heck. Nothing much to lose now, but trying it and the rallying, so they're all rallying, at least that helped. And this hurt. This really hurt. Left the marker on this, remind where the dice come from. They've managed, the rule is you have to see a corner has to hit one corner, corner set another corner, without them crossing. So effectively you've got to see two corners from the width of your base. It's easier to show than explain. But anyway, the guys at the top of the screen can see past his skirmishes and my skirmishes and see the side of that base and get one long-range dice. So he's like, what the heck, I'll try it. One dice, of course he rolls a 6. I immediately roll a 6 on my cohesion test. I'm testing on 4. No, they were just, I must have been disordered. That's why I didn't make the long charge, wasn't it? Got disordered. So they, so the way it works is, their VBU is 4. Disordered 3. Take a hit 2. Because it's shooting, it's 3. I'm heavy infantry. That should have gone back up to 4. You get a +2 for heavy infantry. Forgot that rule. That would have made such a difference. Anyway, we played it there on 3. I rolled a 6 in the cohesion test. Boom, 3 dead. Back ranks down to 1. Horrible. Skirmishes come up. Another hit. Boom. They came off. Then there's another unit of archers at the top right. 1 dice, long range shot against the skirmishes, hits. I roll a 5 cohesion test. Boom. They come off. So I just lost 2 bases. And my juggernaut in the centre that was going to go smashing through his infantry is down to like 1 hit left and a single base suddenly, and the skirmishes are gone. So suddenly, I think I've lost about 7 or 8 points now, and I break on losing 13 points. So I'm still okay, but you don't want to go much further than that. And I need 1 more large unit, or 1 more decent unit for him to break him. So these guys have come running up. Hang on. Not quite sure why they've done that. I think, this is a situation where if they stand there, they'd get killed, so they just will have a go. So they went through the skirmishes, you see right at the bottom of the screen, because they've evaded back, and because of all the other stuff behind, they've gone jump, 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 and they're pretty much out of the game. He's now hit my archers again. I think he's on 3 or 2. If he stayed there, he gets shot. This way, at least he'll do some damage on the archers. I think the melee went my way. Can't see the numbers involved. So they've hit. What the hell's it? I didn't know better. It seems out of order, but there we are. I'm aimlessly playing tricks. It was only a couple of hours ago. My light cavalry is still there on the left. I thought they'd gone by now, and he's trying to get his skirmishes in to try and beat up on my archers. Yeah, I got very lucky with those light cavalry on the left. Just kept missing shots and whatever, but they did die. Maybe not quite yet, but yeah, quite. Yeah, I mean, my light cavalry charging again. Again, they've tried it. Still, I don't know why I did that. Looking back at it now, I think I went impetuous. The rules have impetuous troops. If something's in range, you've got to try and charge it. Problem is, I'm impetuous. They were in range and I charged it. They had a nice standoff with his light cavalry. And needless to say, we didn't win that melee. Bounce off. Pointless. Another futile gesture. This was a friendly game and a bit of a practice. We're not normally as reckless as this. A little bit more common sense. Because look, they've hit that spear unit. At least I should have softened up my archers first and give me a fighting chance. I'm just trying to break his army. I'm so determined to break it. I'm throwing away points now because they're going to bounce off right back in front of his light cav again. Disordered again. So you can see his unit spear up the top left. I don't think I even scratched them. It was a futile gesture. Just what the situation recalled. And my guys have bounced back so far they're off the left-hand edge. If they didn't die in that melee. You see now The shooting's been whittling him down. There's just 2 units left in the centre. I need 1 more to break him. So I'm looking all ways to try and get one in. So the archers are all shooting. My skirmishers are running up and shooting. Everything's shooting. I've got a centre unit right down, but I can't destroy it. So Roger now is those light cavalry, which... Oh, I did feel for Roger here, because those light cavalry have been perfectly positioned all game. They outmaneuvered my light cavalry, yeah, which are dead. You can see they've gone. They ran into those halberdiers and just died. It was absolutely pointless. I mean, it wasn't quite as stupid as I think I got I got disordered on the way in, so I only got 3 dice. If I'd had 4 dice, he got about 3 or 4 dice. You know, it's a bit of a coin toss, but hey. Anyway, so it's like cavalry come flying in now, right at the back of the archers, sitting ducks. Like it was 5 dice. Have that, Ross. And they whiffed it again. So those light cavalry with their much vaunted bows, I think they did nothing all game. They kept trying. Look at them, right behind the archers on the left. I still couldn't hit them. They're behind them. They can't charge them. There you go. Anyway, so it's a shooting field day now. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Kill something. Kill a unit. So everything in the centre shots at his general's unit to try and break it. And no. Misses and chipped away a bit. So it might be posthumous, but they're going to get the medal for toughest unit. And against the other side here, look at that lot. Yeah, we showed the dice on the picture. He ran up to my disordered large unit. This is where the rest of the page. See that one long range shot, and you can see that dot marker means I lost 3 last time. I jumped the gun a bit there. To break the suspense. So they got 1 hit left on the rear unit of the large unit, and the front, you know, that's the front is the full unit. So anyway, so those guys run in, disordered, so they can shoot at point blank range. He rolls 6 dice, 4 6s, 4 6s. Ah! So I start on VBU 4, disordered 3, 4 hits. I'm rolling on a 1. I'm rolling on a 1, and I rolled 5. Ouch. This one I didn't roll 6, I suppose. But anyway, 5 means take 4 hits. So that's the back half of the large unit gone. 3 hits carried over onto the front, so they're down to 1. So the idea was that they would charge into his king's unit, crush them, win the game, happy days. But no. Oh, one thing I forgot on the left. That futile charge by the light cavalry wasn't completely futile as it turned out. Yeah. I was actually it worked out beautifully. They charged to the skirmishers and hit them. That's right. They were going to charge the skirmishers. I remember now. This is one of the great moments, great impetus moments. Can't believe I forgot. I should go back and re-record that picture. Anyway, what happened was they charged in, and the skirmishers evaded. So I didn't charge in. I did a full move up to the skirmishers. They evaded. I then... Yeah, the charge move, I remember... Yeah, sorry, get this right. Let's do this card again. Yeah. You can see the dice on the screen there. I jumped the gun a little bit. That long range archer shot. Remember that 1 dice he had? Whacked me down, so I took 3 hits. So I've now got a back rank. You can see it's a large unit. The halberdiers at the back are on 1 hit left. The unit's disordered. So his skirmishers go running in. Happy days. 6 dice, and look at that. 4 6s. Ow! Ow! So my guys are testing against a 1. I promptly rolled a 5. Could have been a 6, I guess, but I rolled a 5. That's 4 hits. So the back rank gets taken off. Transfer 3 to the front. They're now down to 1 hit left. Disordered 1. So the plan of them charging through the middle to finish off his general, he's had 2 shots, and they've gone. His large unit facing, I must have shot them 12, 13, 14 times, I don't know, and it's still there with a few hits left. Boom. That hurt. My guys are soft. They're just not up for it. But it did remind me of something else. On the far left, the futile gesture with the Lanc cav wasn't as futile complete as it turned out, because they ran in, they moved, the skirmishers that were there, if you remember, they evaded, but I had enough move with the charge to catch them and kill them. Now if you evade twice, you can evade with you can evade a second time, and you take a disorder test, and if you become disordered you can't evade again. But as we read it, if you catch them in one bound, so the move plus the charge meant they reached them, they're dead. Also, we followed through just enough to hit his spearmen. And that's when that melee hit. But at least he got the extra point for the skirmishers, which turned out to be quite useful. Anyway, guessing one near to breaking. There's not completely futile. Anyway, this is now... yeah, so my last gets absolutely beaten up. There's the 5 I rolled. Boom. Ouch. That's what's left. It's now a small unit with 1 hit left, disordered, so any hit, they're basically dead. So they can't do the coup de grace. If there's going to be a coup de grace, because now I'm getting close to breaking a bit. Squeaky bum time. Right, so the guys from the fortifications, flushed with the success of their last shot, and now advancing in and taking long-range pot shots. My crossbow guys there. Not so much devastation. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. 1 dice again. This time I think I rolled a 6. So if you can see that dice, sorry it's blurred. Basically, what the dice, I think the dice shows a 1. Because here's 1 long range hit. I'm 4. Hit takes me to 3. 4, because it's shooting, mouse disordered, 3. I rolled a 6, 3 dead. 3 dead. It's a brutal game when you roll badly. So they've now got 1 hit point left. So I got a couple of units at the back on 1 hit point. I've got my large unit, there's now a small unit with 1 hit point left. So he gets the victory point for breaking half of it. These guys have almost broken. It's like, if I don't, what I thought was an easy win a few turns ago and cruising, it's now away. So back over, you can see these guys are taking those long range shots, hitting on the side of me. Oh, to set the shot up again, so you can see they can squeeze past his skirmishers. And that large unit, very nearly dead now. Horrible, horrible. So in the centre, I've got this unit of spearmen, which has retreated all the way back with 2 hits. So if all my weak units suddenly died, it's looking very bad indeed. Right, so what do we try and do now? This is general units in the centre, and it looks a bit confused. We can see his 2-point unit at the bottom of the screen, to the left of it, 1 point left. But then, is a better shot. Well, you can see everything. What I have been doing, just in from the left, is the large, well not large, but the unit, yeah it is a large unit, the large unit of heavy foot with the king attached. So as you can see, there's not many left on the Chinese side now. If I could just get 1 more unit, not including skirmishers, he's broken. He's 2 points off breaking, small unit is worth 2. And if I don't do it, he's got his light cavalry around the back, they could sweep round, they could kill one of my weak units at the back, long range should have killed another one on the right, bit of luck in the middle, and I'm broken. So I'm suddenly thinking, time to take some action, measure the distance for the king to get there, and it's a triple move. So he moves twice, so takes the discipline test, it's a B-class unit, with the general, 3 up needed, 3 rolled. So he can move again, which gave him the 15. This is a great thing with Impetus. The movement is not really fixed. You move 5, but hey, you can move 3 times in 1 turn if you get lucky. Rolled discipline test again, rolled another 3. Spot on, nothing extra. So they arrive, large unit, heavy infantry. It's king on king. It's the Lancastrian king, it's a Sui king, face to face. I'm going second in the turn, and he does it. The general drops. It's enough to break his army. Because it's the end of my turn, it's the end of the game. One army breaks. So a very close game in the end, and really good fun. We both really enjoyed it. Very different to most of our games. I'm usually very aggressive and attacking. I suppose it wasn't aggressive defence in the end, but at the beginning I did find myself on the defensive. I'd have to be a little bit patient to win the long-range duel. Roger, really reluctant to come forward, really did, and almost broke through the middle. I reckon if those archers on the right had come in a bit earlier, maybe the war wagon had got down somehow. It was already very close. That might just have tipped it. Anyway, this is the army I used. Pretty much the same army, I think, exactly, apart from the figures. Were last year at the Wales Open. And I think I came second or third, something like that. I think I just missed out on top spot. So it's an army I like, and I've used quite a bit in the past. It's not the army I'm using this year. I've kept it up my sleeve. You'll see that in the next reports. Roger was trying out the Chinese just to try out some tactics. It's an army, looks nice. I don't think he's going to use that in the tournament. I haven't had his army yet. Mine is already in, so I can't be changed now, so it doesn't matter what I see. So, yeah, looking forward to the tournament. It's in Cardiff. I'll put a link down below. Come along. It's maybe enter for the next one and find out more about Impetus tournaments going on in the UK. It's quite a lot. I organised a couple of them, and there's others going on. So, more soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you made it to the end.